Don't dismiss the Xiaopeng G6 as just another Chinese EV. This electric mid-size crossover is one of the most sophisticated and best value options in the Tesla Model Y segment, especially in this usefully updated form, and an outstanding effort in a class where some rivals are still struggling to find the sweet spot. In short, it's certainly worth a look. My name is Jonathan Crouch. I've been testing cars for over 40 years. You'll find them all on the Car and Driving app. Here, I'm going to try and tell you everything that you really need to know about this car in a way you'll find nowhere else. The Xpeng G6 is a mid-sized coupe-SUV that sets its sights on the Tesla Model Y crowd. Here, we take a look at the improved version. Like us, you're probably realizing that some emerging Chinese EV auto brands are more serious contenders than others. Xiaopeng, that's actually how you pronounce the name, is definitely of the more serious sort. Even though it was only founded a decade ago, this tech entrepreneur startup is already selling across half of Europe and has introduced 5 models so advanced that the Volkswagen Group has paid €500 million for a stake of just 5% in the company. The first of these models to reach the UK in February 2025 was this one, the G6, on sale in China since mid-2023, and it sold in our market for less than a year in its original form before being substantially updated to create the version of this model that we're going to look at here, which apparently features over 20,000 incremental developments. A bit more than a mere facelift then. The G6 remains an electric mid-sized coupe SUV aimed directly at the Tesla Model Y and that car's profitable segment, but it charges faster, gives you more standard kit, offers greater technology and costs less. Plus, it's sold here by an experienced dealer network run by International Motors, who import Subaru and Isuzu here, which means that you need to take the G6 seriously if you're buying or leasing in this sector, in which case you'll need this review. Just before we get into the driving section, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and please help us by subscribing to the channel and by downloading that Car and Driving app I mentioned earlier. If you're researching new or used models or simply love cars like I do, I think you'll really like that app. 40 years of my life's work, films and written reviews of every vehicle you can think of, all in one place. Check it out. Right, let's get back to the driving section. It isn't only the styling that has a Tesla look, so does the powertrain lineup. Things kick off as before with the standard range rear-driven model that now uses a 68.5 kWh LFP battery, up from 66 kWh before. It energizes a 262 bhp motor with 440 Nm of torque, able to propel the car to 62 miles an hour in 6.9 seconds. EV range is 292 miles, 22 miles more than before. Most G6 customers, though, are expected to want the mid-level rear-driven long-range variant, which has 292 brake horsepower and makes 62 miles an hour in 6.7 seconds. This volume variant now has a newly introduced state-of-the-art lithium iron phosphate LFP battery, but because its capacity has fallen to 80.8 kWh, down from the 87.5 kWh figure of the previous NCM battery pack, range has fallen to 326 miles, down from 354 miles before. As before, driving dynamics aren't especially inspiring, and at speed through the bends, the steering should be more feelsome, and you can feel the 2-ton curb weight. Xiaopeng hasn't really put any effort into a bespoke handling package for this top all-wheel drive performance model, and if that saves you £10,000 to £15,000 on the asking price, as it does in this case, then you might think that's fair enough. Rivals are significantly more engaging, and in most cases nearly a second faster to 62 miles an hour. But this G6 all-wheel drive performance model's sprint time of 4.1 seconds is quite as fast as you need to go on a public road, and its 483 brake horsepower output with 659 Nm of torque is not to be sniffed at. Top speed, like all G6s, is 125 miles an hour. There's a proper front double wishbone suspension setup, and the twin-motor drive system has well-balanced weight distribution. The all-wheel drive performance shares the same 80.8 kWh LFP battery pack as the ordinary 292 brake horsepower long-range G6 model. With the change in battery chemistry, range has fallen a bit to 316 miles for this all-wheel drive performance model, 24 miles less than before. All G6s offer a choice of 4 driving modes: Eco, Comfort, Sport, which engages with a whoosh, and Individual, plus 3 settings for steering and brake pedal feel. And unlike with the Tesla Model Y, you get to select varying levels of brake regen. There are 4: Light, Medium, High, and X pedal, the latter slowing the car dramatically when you come off throttle. As before, Xiaopeng also provides a choice of drive sounds: Space Floating and Time Warp. And you can choose between 3 power steering settings, with the Sport option quite direct, but none of them particularly feelsome. There's quite a firm ride, despite the advanced 5-link rear suspension and supposedly sophisticated Sachs multi-valve passive dampers. Adaptive damping isn't offered. Despite that, perhaps predictably, the driving dynamics aren't especially involving, though to be fair, the G6 is reasonably agile through the bends for a 2-ton EV crossover, helped by the stiff SEPA 2.0 platform. Obviously, it's much more in its element at a cruise, where you'll appreciate the vast number of X-Pilot 2.5 camera drive assist features and the fact that all the binging and bonging that comes with them isn't too intrusive. You'll also appreciate this car's excellent refinement, helped by the double glazed glass. You probably won't choose a G6 just because of how it looks, but there's nothing to repel you here either. Now, not much has changed as part of this update around what Xiaopeng calls this car's bold robotic face. Smarter front lights have shifted the badge position, while at the side the wheel arches have become colour-coded, and at the back a rear diffuser sits below a small ducktail spoiler. As before, the shape is slightly more Coupe-SUV than most of its rivals and broadly replicates the mid-size crossover dimensions of the Tesla Model Y, whose sales it wants to replicate. At 4.75 meters long, 1.92 meters wide, and 1.65 meters tall, this car fits squarely in the mid-sized EV crossover segment. Xiaopeng says the styling was influenced by the world of sci-fi fantasy, but to us, the influences seem to be far more those of segment rivals. Still, a lot of thought's gone in here. There are hidden door handles, frameless doors, a grille with active flaps that shut at speed, a flat underbody, and a streamlined raked-back tail, all of this combining to make the G6 one of the most aerodynamic cars in its class. We'd trade some of that for provision of a rear wiper, though. Inside, well, it's all quite nice in a modern Tesla kind of way, with a general lack of buttons and what Xiaopeng calls a nebula-inspired cabin architecture, incorporating ambient starlight accents and wood-grain dashboard design with layered geometric trim. As part of this update, the dashboard has been subtly redesigned, and there are more small but significant changes too, like the redesigned 4-way adjustable heated steering wheel, via which you can quickly access frequently used features, including auto parking and cruise control from a customizable button. The scroll control on the left spoke enables raising or lowering the temperature and engages the aircon automatically if off. You can also control airflow without touching the screen. Someone who owned the original version of this model would notice a materials upgrade, particularly around the A-pillar and the bits you touch. Plus, the ambient lighting now runs right across the dashboard into the doors. There's a new 9-inch digital rearview mirror, and the front seats, which already heated and cooled you, now feature adjustable lumbar support and massaging features. Perhaps more significantly, the landscape-orientated 15.6-inch X-Smart OS central monitor has gained updated software and is now easier to use, with much more intuitive Hey Xiaopeng voice control. but it still has to handle all the climate functions, and the row of shortcut buttons low down on the monitor aren't always that responsive, sometimes forcing you to take your eyes off the road to use them. It has some nice features though, including a mindfulness space function to relax you, and an X-Sleep system for if you want to take a quick nap whilst charging. Otherwise, things are much as before, which means there are buttons instead of door handles, and rearward visibility is still terrible. Unlike Tesla, Xiaopeng doesn't make you view the drive instruments on the center screen. These are accommodated in the letterbox-shaped 10.25-inch instrument cluster. All the fixtures and fittings are of decent quality, and there are some nice touches like twin wireless charging mats so powerful, 50 watts, that they have to be carefully cooled. The upholstery is soft-touch leatherette, and there are plenty of places to put things, though a glove box is missing. These include a deep bin under the armrest, large door bins, and an awkward-to-reach storage area under the center console with USB-A and USB-C ports. Thanks to a 2.89-meter wheelbase length, it feels very spacious in the back, the airy feeling helped by the standard-fit panoramic glass roof. That wheelbase length is exactly the same as you get in a Tesla Model Y, which surely can't be coincidental, so two 6-footers can be seated behind a couple of lanky front seat occupants. Plus, in a G6, though the seat base doesn't slide, the rear seats can be adjusted in 12 positions with a maximum angle of 38.4 degrees. There's plenty of headspace too. The center armrest has pop-out cup holders, and there are no rear climate controls. Twin vents, twin USB-C ports, and ISOFIX child seat fastenings are provided. What about luggage space? Well, the powered tailgate rises to reveal a wide opening with a low loading lip and a decent 571-litre capacity. Plus, beneath the thick square of carpet that lies on top of the cargo base, there's some underfloor stowage space for the charging leads, which is just as well because there's unfortunately no underbonnet front compartment for those charging leads, like Tesla and others provide in this segment. Xiaopeng provides a 12-volt socket and cargo sidewall catches to flatten the rear backrest, but it only splits 60-40 and there's no ski hatch, so if you rear-seated passengers, long items will have to go on the roof, where roof rack catches are provided for the purpose. There's up to 1,374 litres with the rear bench folded. At the time of this test in summer 2026, prices for this updated G6 were much as they were for the original version, which means figures starting at around £40,000 for the rear-wheel drive 68.5 kilowatt-hour standard range version. You'll need around £45,000 for the long-range 80.8 kilowatt-hour version most will want. At the time of this test, in summer 2026, this dual-motor all-wheel drive performance flagship model was pitched at around £50,000. It's offered only in this black edition form. Obviously, those figures places Xiaopeng right in the middle of the mid-sized EV crossover segment. The asking figure is very similar to those that Tesla wants for the car that this G6 seems to have been designed around, the Tesla Model Y. Recent price reductions from rivals like the Ford Capri, the Nissan Ariya and the Volkswagen ID.4 have made those cars look more affordable. A typical customer will also be looking at rivals like the Hyundai Ioniq 5, the Toyota BZ4X, the Renault Scenic, the Cupra Tavascan, the Kia EV6, the Peugeot E3008 and the Skoda Enyaq, and maybe more premium badged models like the Audi Q4 Sportback e-tron, the Volvo EX40, the Genesis GB60 and the Mercedes GLB Electric. If it's this Xiaopeng you want, whichever G6 you choose, an advanced XHP 3.0 heat pump is included and standard equipment levels are generous. You can expect to find 20-inch wheels, a panoramic glass roof, enhanced auto parking assist, remote parking assist, and a 360-degree surround camera system, plus a powered tailgate and auto LED headlamps. Inside, there's 6-way power-adjustable heated leatherette upholstered seats that are ventilated too and have 4-way lumbar support and massaging. There's also a 10.25-inch instrument screen, a heated steering wheel, automatic dual-zone climate control, an intelligent air purification system, ambient lighting, 4 USB ports, and 2 50-watt induction charging points for smartphones. Media stuff is taken care of by a 15.6-inch central screen that's powered by the brand's X-Smart OS operating system and features Hey Xiaopeng voice control, Wi-Fi 4G network connectivity, and over-the-air updates. It's also your access point to a 960-watt X-Opera sound system with 18 speakers, and the screen also has a wide range of music, video, entertainment and social media apps. Plus, the car's parking and sentry cameras also serve the G6's useful DVB dashcam system. With the bigger battery models, you also get a 9-inch streaming rearview mirror. The only real option is a tow bar, which Xiaopeng has had to make available for the European market. Apparently, tow bars aren't popular in China. Towing capacity is limited to 1,500 kilograms. Onto safety. There's a wide range of semi-autonomous drive functions, including X-Pilot Assist, adaptive cruise control, active lane change, adaptive turning cruise, and lane centering control. All as part of a safety portfolio that earned the car a top 5-star Euro NCAP safety rating. Aided by 12 ultrasonic sensors and cameras, other ADAS features include autonomous emergency braking with forward collision prevention, lane keep assistance and warning, blind spot detection, emergency lane keeping, rear cross traffic alert and collision warning, and driver state monitoring. There's also 7 airbags linked to an eCall system. We gave you the EV mileage figures in our driving section. 292 miles for the 68.5 kilowatt-hour standard range version, 326 miles for the 80.8 kilowatt-hour long-range model, and 316 miles for the 80.8 kilowatt-hour all-wheel drive performance variant, which we've struggled to get much more than 250 miles from between charges on this test. As before with this G6, there's an advanced 800-volt SEPA 2.0 charging infrastructure. Other brands like Tesla are still stuck with old-tech 400-volt systems. DC charging speeds are rated at up to 362 kilowatts for the standard range version. DC charging speeds are rated at up to 451 kilowatts for the two 80.8 kilowatt-hour models. That's a big increase on the maximum 280 kilowatt DC charging figure the G6 managed in its original form, which means that the car can now charge from 10 to 80% in 12 minutes, 8 minutes quicker than before, making this improved G6 the fastest charging EV in its segment, though to some extent the increased 451 kilowatt figure is of limited benefit as the UK public infrastructure currently tops out at 350 kilowatts. Still, the 800-volt setup means that the car can use the latest ultra-rapid chargers that are springing up all over Europe. An ex-Tesla owner, though, might miss the lack of access to the American brand's wonderful supercharger network. As for AC charging from home, well, with the standard range version, a full 7.4 kilowatt wall box charge would need 10 hours 30 minutes. It'd be 7 hours 30 minutes if you can use a 3-phase 11 kilowatt supply. With the 80.8 kilowatt-hour G6 models, a full 7.4 kilowatt wall box AC charge would need 14 hours, or 9 hours 30 minutes if you can use a 3-phase 11 kilowatt supply. It's worth noting that 11 kilowatts is still the maximum you can AC charge with. Xiaopeng still doesn't provide the faster 22 kilowatt speed that some competitors offer. You can manage your charging regime either from the center screen or from the provided Xiaopeng app. What else? Well, maintenance should be straightforward thanks to the brand's network of International Motors brand dealerships, most of them Subaru and Isuzu franchises. Service intervals are every year or 12,500 miles, whichever comes first, and there's a vehicle health menu on the center screen together with a frugality graph. Insurance groupings are pitched at 43 for the standard range model or 44 for the long range and all-wheel drive performance versions. You'd want peace of mind from an unknown brand. Xiaopeng provides it. There's a 5-year warranty, though it's capped at 75,000 miles, with the usual EV 8-year 100,000-mile battery warranty and a 12-year unlimited mileage bodywork warranty. Depreciation after 3 years and 36,000 miles is expected at around 47 to 50%, which is class competitive. There's real substance here, as you would expect from a car made by a company with an R&D department accounting for over 40% of its 15,000 strong workforce. If you've ever wondered why cars in the Tesla Model Y segment can't charge faster, be better equipped, or be more affordable, this Xpeng G6 is for you, especially in this updated form. Unlike that Tesla, it won't frustrate you with the lack of an instrument cluster and mandatory heavy regen braking, and there are no expensive options to add either. True, you might wish for more involving driving dynamics, easier to use screen functions, or less derivative styling. But if you can live with all these things, there's now even more to like here. Some Chinese car makers are going to stand the test of time in our market, and if it keeps producing products like this G6, Xiaopeng will be one of them.